Norway. Norway is one of the most breathtaking countries in Europe and beyond. Carved over millions of years by advancing and retreating glaciers, its land was gouged into deep valleys that the sea then flooded, giving birth to the fjords. This intimate bond with water pushed Norwegians to become extraordinary seafarers, fishermen, and explorers who once sailed farther than any Europeans of their age. Their connection to the ocean runs so deep that they built an entire nation along a coastline that, counting every island and inlet, stretches longer than the distance around the Earth. Structures like the Atlantic Ocean Road and the Flåm Railway are regarded as marvels of modern engineering. The fjords create an unforgettable visual scene where sheer walls of rock plunge thousands of feet into still, dark water. For most of its history, it could be reached only by boat, and a road did not arrive until 1988. Which is exactly why its old way of life survived so completely. Fewer people live here than goats, and the village is famous across the country for the brown goat cheese. Steep green slopes rise straight from the water behind clusters of wooden houses, and at its heart stands one of the smallest stave churches in Scandinavia, built in the 12th century. This remote and peaceful place unintentionally began attracting visitors thanks to its beauty and the deep silence that settles over the fjord. Hammerfest. This far northern town proudly claims to be one of the oldest and northernmost towns in the world. A foothold of civilization at the top of Europe. It was among the first towns in Northern Europe to have electric street lighting, installed at the end of the 19th century. Its harbor has long been a base for Arctic hunting, fishing, and more recently, natural gas from the Barents Sea. A famous society here welcomes visitors into the ranks of Arctic travelers, and a stone column nearby marks, part of a great scientific survey of the shape of the Earth. Rebuilt after being burned in the war, the town clings to a narrow strip between mountains and sea. Molde. Known as the City of Roses for its unusually mild, sheltered climate, this coastal town looks out over a famous panorama of mountain peaks across the fjord. From a hill above the town, a viewpoint reveals a line of 222 summits stretching along the horizon. Each summer Molde fills with music during one of the oldest jazz festivals in Europe. Rebuilt after wartime destruction, it is a green and pleasant town of gardens and parks. Its position among islands and fjords makes it a natural base for exploring the surrounding coast. Runde. This small western island is one of the most important seabird colonies in Norway. Its cliffs crowded with hundreds of thousands of nesting birds. Puffins, gannets, guillemots, and kittiwakes fill the air and ledges through the breeding season. The surrounding waters are rich in fish, drawing the birds, and historically, the fishermen who lived alongside them. Shipwrecks off its shores have yielded treasure, adding legend to the island's story. Today, it is a haven for birdwatchers and a monument to the abundance of the Northern Sea. Ålesund. This coastal town is unlike anywhere else in Norway, for it was rebuilt almost entirely in a single elegant style. after a great fire destroyed the wooden center in 1904, leaving thousands homeless in midwinter, the town rose again in the ornate Art Nouveau fashion then sweeping Europe. Towers, turrets, and flowing stone decoration line the streets and the harbor canals. From the top of the Oxla Hill, a famous viewpoint looks out over the whole town, spread across its islands. Set among fjords and open sea, Ålesund remains one of the great fishing ports of the country. Lofoten Islands. This chain of islands rises straight out of the sea above the Arctic Circle, a wall of sharp peaks separated from the mainland by open water. Despite lying so far north, its climate is mild for the latitude, warmed by ocean currents. For over 1,000 years, its people have lived from the winter cod that gather here to spawn, dried on wooden racks into stockfish and traded as far as the Mediterranean. Red and ochre fishermen's cabins, the roerbuer, stand on stilts at the water's edge in villages like Runde, Henningsvær, and O. In summer, the midnight sun never sets, and in winter, the northern lights dance over the peaks. Sheltered white beaches and turquoise bays give the islands an almost tropical look beneath their Arctic mountains. Tromsø. Often called the gateway to the Arctic, this lively city lies far above the Arctic Circle. Yet has been a base for polar expeditions for over a century. In the 19th century, it grew wealthy on Arctic hunting and trade, and earned the nickname Paris of the North for its surprising sophistication. The Arctic Cathedral, a soaring white structure of sharp triangles, has become the city's emblem. Set among mountains and dark seas, Tromsø is one of the finest places on Earth to watch the northern lights in winter. It is home to the world's northernmost university, botanic garden, and brewery, and its streets stay busy through the long polar night. Nærøyfjord. This slender arm of the Sognefjord is one of the narrowest fjords in the world. In places barely 250 meters wide between towering cliffs, its walls climb as high as 700 meters, so steep that in winter the sun never reaches the water. Together with the Geiranger Fjord, it was recognized as a World Heritage Site for its dramatic, untouched scenery. Tiny farms and hamlets are scattered along the shore, connected by boat and by paths that switch back up the slopes. The stillness is broken only by the sound of waterfalls and the wake of passing vessels. Flåm Railway. Considered one of the steepest standard gauge railways on the planet, this line descends a wild mountain valley from the high station of Myrdal down to the village of Flåm on the fjord. Construction stretched across 2 decades before the line opened in 1940, with much of the track blasted through solid rock by hand. Along its short route, it passes tunnels, sheer drops, and the powerful Kjosfossen waterfall, where trains pause for passengers to step out. The gradient is so severe that the carriages are fitted with several independent braking systems. What began as a link for local goods is now one of the most scenic train journeys in the world. Rjukan. Set deep in a narrow valley in Telemark. This industrial town was built in the early 20th century to harness the power of a great waterfall for making fertilizer. So steep are the valley walls that the sun does not reach the town center for half the year. So a set of huge mirrors was installed on the mountainside to reflect light into the square. Nearby stands the Vemork plant, once the only place in the world producing heavy water, which became the target of a daring wartime sabotage that helped deny the Nazis an atomic weapon. The whole industrial landscape is now a World Heritage Site. A steep cable car was built simply so that sunless residents could reach the daylight above. Kristiansand. The largest town on the southern coast was laid out in 1641 by King Christian IV on a strict grid plan. Its straight streets still following his design. Its position on the sea made it a center of trade and shipping, and its harbor connects Norway with Denmark across the water. The old quarter of Posbyen preserves rows of low white wooden houses along the neat streets. Long sandy beaches and mild summers make it a favorite holiday spot for Norwegians. A large zoo and amusement park nearby draws families from across the country. Fjord. The second longest fjord in the country is best known for the Sea of Blossoms that covers its slopes each spring. Sheltered orchards along its banks produce apples, cherries, plums, and pears. And for a few weeks in May, the hillsides turn white and pink. Behind the fruit trees rise steep mountains and, higher still, the edge of the Folgefonna Glacier. The region has been farmed for 1,000 years, its produce shipped out along the water. Waterfalls, glacier arms, and the trailhead for Trolltunga all lie within reach of its shores. Trondheim. Founded in the year 997 by the Viking king Olav Tryggvason, this was the first capital of Norway and remains its historic and spiritual heart. It sits where the river Nidelva loops toward the sea, and colorful wooden warehouses still line the water on stilts. At its center rises the Nidaros Cathedral, the northernmost medieval cathedral in the world, built over the grave of Saint Olav. For centuries, it was the goal of pilgrims who walked across the mountains to reach the saint's tomb, and Norwegian kings are still blessed here. The old town keeps its low wooden houses, and arching over the river the red Old Town Bridge, known as the Gate of Happiness. a large university gives the city a young, lively character to this day. Trollstigen. This spectacular mountain road climbs a near vertical valley wall through 11 hairpin bends, each named after the workers who built it. Opened in 1936 after 8 years of labor, it was an extraordinary feat for its time, cut and blasted by hand into the rock. A thundering waterfall, the Stigfossen, drops beside the road and passes beneath it. At the top, viewing platforms cantilever out over the edge for a dizzying look back down the switchbacks. Snow keeps the pass closed for much of the year, so it opens only in the short northern summer. Atlantic Ocean Road. This celebrated stretch of highway hops from island to island across an exposed patch of coast, linking them with a series of low, curving bridges. It opened in 1989 after construction was battered by more than a dozen storms. The most famous of its spans, the Storseisundet Bridge, twists so sharply that from certain angles it looks as though the road simply ends in the sea. On calm days, the drive is serene, but during autumn gales, waves crash right over the asphalt. It is regularly named one of the most beautiful and thrilling roads in the world. Oslo. It is the capital of Norway and one of the greenest major cities in Europe, wrapped by forested hills and the waters of the Oslofjord. Founded around the year 1000 and once known as Christiania under Danish rule, it became the seat of a newly independent nation in the 19th century. The city sits at the head of a long fjord, dotted with islands that locals reach by ferry in summer to swim and picnic. Akershus Fortress, a medieval castle begun around 1300, has guarded the harbor for 7 centuries and never fell to a foreign siege. Along the waterfront rises the Oslo Opera House, whose white marble roof slopes down to the sea so that visitors can walk right up its surface. The Vigeland Park displays more than 200 sculptures by Gustav Vigeland, all depicting the human figure in every stage of life. The Munch Museum holds the world's largest collection of works by Edvard Munch. Including versions of his haunting painting, The Scream. Above the city, the Holmenkollen ski jump has hosted competitions for over a century and offers a sweeping view across the fjord. Bergen. Surrounded by 7 mountains and famous for its rain, Bergen is the gateway to the Great Western Fjords. And was for a long time the largest city in the country. It was founded in 1070. During the Middle Ages, became a key trading post of the Hanseatic League. The powerful network of Northern European merchants, the Briggen Wharf preserves a row of narrow wooden merchant houses in ochre, red, and white. Rebuilt many times after fires, but always in the same medieval pattern. These crooked buildings, now protected as a World Heritage Site, once stored the dried cod that made the city rich. The lively fish market has stood at the harbor for centuries and still sells the day's catch beneath open-sided stalls. A funicular climbs Mount Flåen for a view over the rooftops and the sea, while the surrounding peaks draw hikers straight from the city center. Bergen is also the birthplace of composer Edvard Grieg, whose lakeside villa can still be visited on the edge of town. Sognefjord. Known as the King of the Fjords, this is the longest and deepest fjord in Norway. Reaching more than 200 kilometers inland and plunging over 1,300 meters below the surface. Sheer mountain walls rise directly from the water, some capped with snow and glaciers even in summer. Small farms cling to impossibly steep ledges, many of them reachable in the past only by ladder or boat. Countless narrow arms branch off the main channel, including the Nærøyfjord and the Ålesund, leading deep into the mountains. Villages along its banks survived for centuries on fruit growing, fishing, and the raising of goats. Today, ferries and cruise ships trace its length, passing waterfalls that tumble hundreds of meters down the rock. Jotunheimen National Park. Its name means home of the giants, and it holds the highest mountains in all of Northern Europe. Among its peaks stands Galdhøpiggen, the tallest in the country at 2,469 meters, crowned with snow the year round. More than 200 summits here rise above 2,000 meters, separated by deep valleys, glaciers, and clear mountain lakes. Ancient trails cross the range, once used by farmers moving livestock and now walked by hikers from across the world. The park is a stronghold for hardy wildlife, including wild reindeer that roam its high, bare plateaus. Runde National Park. Declared the country's first national park in 1962, this range of rounded gray peaks became a symbol of Norwegian nature conservation. Its mountains were shaped by ice and weather into gentle domes divided by wide open valleys. The dry, high landscape supports reindeer, which have crossed these plateaus for thousands of years. Painters and writers of the National Romantic era found deep inspiration here, and their images helped define how Norwegians see their own wilderness. Clear light and vast silence make it a favorite for hikers seeking solitude. Dovrefjell. This mountain plateau has long held a special place in the Norwegian imagination as a symbol of endurance and unity. Its most famous residents are the musk oxen, shaggy Ice Age survivors reintroduced here in the 20th century after dying out long ago. These massive animals, wrapped in thick coats, graze the tundra and can charge with surprising speed when threatened. The peak of Snøhetta rises above the plateau, and a striking timber viewpoint frames it for visitors. Wild reindeer and the elusive Arctic fox also make their home across this rugged land. Hardangervidda. This is the largest mountain plateau in Europe, a vast, treeless expanse of bog, lake, and rock at the roof of southern Norway. It sits high above the tree line, swept by wind and covered in snow for much of the year. The plateau is home to the largest herd of wild reindeer in Europe, which migrate across it with the seasons. For centuries, people crossed it on foot and ski, and old trading and pilgrim routes still thread its emptiness. The famous Bergen Railway and its accompanying road climb right across the plateau at its highest point. Jostedalsbreen. This is the largest glacier on the European mainland, a vast plateau of ice stretching nearly 60 kilometers along the mountains of western Norway. It is a remnant of the great ice sheets that once buried the whole region, fed by heavy snowfall that never fully melts. From its high, flat body, dozens of glacier arms spill down into the surrounding valleys. The ice can be hundreds of meters thick and glows an unearthly blue where it cracks and folds. Though it has been shrinking in recent decades, it remains one of the most impressive frozen landscapes in Europe. Svalbard. Far out in the Arctic Ocean, roughly halfway between the mainland and the North Pole, lies this remote archipelago of ice, mountains, and tundra. It was Lausanne base for whalers and later for coal miners, and by a treaty signed in 1920, it remains under Norwegian rule while open to citizens of many nations. Longyearbyen, its main settlement, is one of the northernmost inhabited places on the planet. A small town of colorful houses beneath bare peaks. Polar bears roam the islands and outnumber the people, so anyone leaving the settlements must carry protection. Deep in a mountainside sits the global seed vault, a frozen store of the world's crop seeds guarding against future disaster. Stavanger. Once a modest fishing and canning town, Stavanger was transformed in the 1970s into the oil capital of Norway when petroleum was discovered beneath the North Sea. The old heart of the city, Gamla Stavanger, preserves the largest collection of wooden houses in Northern Europe. Their white walls lining narrow cobbled lanes. Down by the harbor, the Norwegian Petroleum Museum tells the story of the industry that made the country wealthy. The city is also the gateway to the Eidfjord and the trail up to Preikestolen. Behind its modern prosperity lies a long past of herring, sardines, and hard sea-going work. Loen and Olden. At the inner end of the Nordfjord, these villages lie between glacier and water in a landscape of extraordinary drama. From Loen, a modern cable car climbs steeply to a mountain plateau with sweeping views over fjord and peaks. Nearby, the still waters of the Lofoten Lake shine an unreal turquoise, fed by glacial melt. Though the valley also carries the memory of deadly rockslides that once struck its shores. From Olden, roads lead toward the arms of the great Jostedalsbreen Glacier. Together, they form one of the most spectacular corners of the western fjords. Odda and Eidfjord. These towns anchor the inner reaches of the Hardanger region, where fjord, mountain, and glacier meet. Odda grew as an industrial town at the head of a long fjord arm, and today serves as the main base for hikers heading up to Trolltunga. Eidfjord sits near the mouth of a wild gorge and the thundering Vøringsfossen waterfall. Behind them rises the Hardangervidda Plateau and the edge of the Folgefonna Glacier. Waterfalls, orchards, and steep valleys make the whole area a magnet for travelers seeking the heart of Fjord Norway. That's all for today. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.